Okay, once again, first week we talked about the handbrake model, just putting everything in perspective for you guys. We are still here in the strategic analysis quadrant for this week's lecture. And we are now talking about the internal organization, chapter 3 of your book today. So, last week we talked about looking at the external environment of the firm and analyzing driving forces, looking at Porter's 5 forces in the structure of an industry, and key success factors, which I think I didn't get to. Let me actually go back to external analysis for a second. I think we ran out of time last Wednesday, and I still had to go over key success factors. So the key success factors are basically the same as the resources needed in your business model tool that you fill out in the beginning of the case analysis. So these are things that every company in an industry has to be good at in order to be able to be successful and prosper. So these are things like, on what basis do customers choose between competing brands? What resources and competitive capabilities does a company need to be completely successful? And what does it take for a company to achieve sustainable competitive advantage? So some of the types of key success factors are technology-related, manufacturing-related, distribution-related, marketing-related, skills-related. Sometimes they have to do with organizational capabilities as well. So in your case analysis document, this is still from last week's lecture. I just remembered that I forgot to go over this last week. In your case analysis document, that's interesting. There we go. So in your case analysis document, if you scroll down to external analyses, we talked about how to fill out the driving forces chart. We talked about how to fill out the Porter's 5 forces chart, and that is actually, I think that's where we stopped. Unfortunately, our library has decided to cut our subscription to MarketLine. So the instructions in the case analysis document for driving forces are no longer correct. This is not a copy and paste exercise. This should be in your own words. So read the slides about Porter's 5 forces, look at that section of your book, and then describe to me what you think Porter's 5 forces are for the industry and the company that you're analyzing. Okay? And then for key success factors, you're going to go back up to the business model. You're going to look at the resources needed. So, like we talked about in the business model example of academia, the product we deliver is a degree, useful skills and knowledge, and a good job and career path. In order to be able to do that, our major variable cost is the salary of teachers. Our major fixed cost is the overhead for all the buildings and facilities here. So resources needed, we need, and then how does the revenue come in? We get a bunch of money from the government, we get some money from tuition, and we get some money from donations from the community. So the resources needed in order to be successful with that are good relationships with government funding sources, good marketing of our program so that we can get tuition money, and good relationships with donors. We need to have good quality teachers, and we need to have good quality facilities. 5 things. So those 5 things that were in the resources needed section of the business model, you can bring right down here and put in relationships with government, marketing for tuition, high quality professors, oops, I forgot, relationships with donors, and good quality facilities. And now we're going to need to weight these factors so that they add up to 100%. So the way I usually do that is to first decide which ones should be high, the most important, and which ones should be medium and low, less important. So I'm going to say relationship with the government is going to be high. Marketing for tuition and relationships with donors are going to be medium. And high quality professors and good quality facilities are going to be low. So if I have, I think 40%, 20%, 20%, 10%, 10%, that should add up to 100, right? 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. Yeah. So I could go in and I could put, 40% here, 20% here, 10% here, 20%, 10%. And now I'm going to have to give some justifications of why. So government is the major funding source for CSUB. Therefore, this factor is rated highest. And, good quality facilities. Facilities are important for a quality learning experience, but are not as critical as government relationships or other funding relationships. For this reason, we have rated this factor lowest. Okay? And you're going to fill out all of those boxes with a short explanation of why you've weighted things the way you did. And then finally, When you're done, I want you to delete the instructions and make sure that the font of everything is black, and then you're good to go. Okay? Make sense? Okay, so that was the end of last week's lecture that we didn't get to last week. And now I will get into internal analysis. So for internal analysis, you want to look at what your resources and capabilities are. So it's kind of nice that we just talked about key success factors, because that leads directly into examining the internal core competencies of the company. So the key success factors in the industry are what every company in the industry needs to be successful. Your company, you want to take a look at all of the resources and capabilities of your company and determine what are your core competencies. So what are the things that your company is the best at doing? And you want to base your strategy around the things that you are best at doing. So we're going to talk about some criteria for sustainable advantage called VRIO, or the resource-based view of the firm. We're going to talk about that a little bit today, and how that relates to selecting the resources that your company is best at. Then we're going to take a look at value chain analysis, so comparing your internal operations to the internal operations of one of your competitors. And then based on those two analyses, you're going to select the resource bundle that is best for your company for competitive advantage, and you'll be able to compete effectively. So resource-based strategies attempt to exploit a company's valuable and rare resources and competitive capabilities. So you want to, like I said, focus on resources and capabilities that you're better at than any of your competitors. How do you determine the competitive power of a resource? First of all, is the resource valuable? So there's an acronym here, VRIO, that we're going to talk about. And the first question is the letter V. Is the resource that you're looking at valuable? Is the resource rare and something that your rivals don't have? So the R in VRIO. Is the resource hard to copy or to imitate? The I in VRIO. And finally, is your company organized well to take advantage of your resource strengths? The O in VRIO. So these are the questions you want to ask yourself about your resources as a firm. Some of the types of resources and capabilities that you normally focus on for this kind of analysis are skills or specialized expertise at something, valuable physical assets of one kind or another, valuable human assets or intellectual capital, organizational assets, sometimes intangible assets, and sometimes alliances or cooperative ventures that are competitively valuable. So there's competencies, core competencies, and distinctive competencies. There are three different types of competencies that we talk about in strategic analysis of firms. First of all, a company competence, just a regular old competence, is the product of organizational learning experience and represents proficiency in performing some sort of internal activity. A core competence is a well-performed internal activity that is central to the company's competitiveness and profitability. So this is not just something you're good at, but something you're good at and that is important for the company's success. A distinctive competence is a competitively valuable core competence that you're actually better at doing than your rivals. So the idea here is that you base your company strategy on core competencies that you are better at doing than any of your competitors. So those are distinctive competencies of your firm. Bless you. Types of core competencies. Bless you again. Expertise in building networks and systems, for example, for e-commerce in an e-commerce company. Bringing new or next generation products to market quickly. Better after-sales service capacity. The ability to manufacture a really high-quality product. Maybe innovativeness in developing new product features or popular product features. Speed in responding to new market trends or flexibility. A system of one kind or another to fill customers' orders accurately and swiftly. Or perhaps expertise in integrating multiple technologies into new products. These are just some examples of the ways that different types of companies have different types of core competencies. So there's a lot of different resources that you can look at for a VRIO analysis. You could look at financial resources, so things like the firm's borrowing capacity or the ability to generate funds internally from sales and revenue. You could look at organizational resources, so the formal reporting structure of the company. You could look at the physical resources of the company, so location of a plant, or maybe the sophistication and innovativeness of the manufacturing plant. Perhaps your distribution facilities or the inventory of product that you maintain. You could also look at the technological resources of the company you're analyzing and take a look at things like copyrights, patents, trademarks, other types of intellectual property that the company possesses. And then those are tangible resources, things you can touch or quantify in some way. You could also base your internal competitiveness on intangible resources like your human resources. So the knowledge of your staff, trust among workers, the skills that your employees have, or the ability that they have to cooperate or collaborate with each other. You can look at innovation resources, so the ideas that the company is able to generate, or scientific capabilities or ways to innovate. You could look at reputational resources, so the brand name of the company or the perception in the marketplace of the quality and reliability of your products. You could look at the reputation you have with your stakeholders, your suppliers, your customers, all of the interest groups that are involved in seeing the company succeed, and what is your reputation with them. So some examples of firm capabilities: distribution, effective use of logistics management techniques. Walmart is great at this. They're also great at management information systems, so effective and efficient control of inventory using things like point of purchase data collection methods. Walmart's a great example of innovation and core distinctive competencies in that regard. Human resources, motivating, empowering, and retaining employees. Microsoft is particularly good. They have a very strong culture of innovation and motivation among employees. So that's another type of distinctive capability. Marketing capabilities, things like effective promotion of brand name products. Procter & Gamble is great at this. Ralph Lauren. McKinsey, although they're a consulting company, has really done a great job at branding themselves as the Cadillac of consulting companies. Nordstrom and Crate & Barrel are some other examples. Management capabilities, so the ability to envision the future of clothing. Hugo Boss and Zara are very good at that. Manufacturing capabilities, designing production skills and yielding reliable products, having good product and design quality. Komatsu, Whitgas, and Sony are some good examples there. And then research and development capabilities. So innovative technology, rapid transformation of technology into products and processes. Caterpillar is very good at that. Otis, Chaparral, and Thompson are some other examples. So when you're answering these questions about valuable, rare, costly to imitate, and actually there's two different philosophies of VRIO. I actually consider this category to be an O, not an N. So it's how well is the company organized. So if you can't answer yes to any of these questions, you're going to be at a competitive disadvantage, and in general, you're going to generate below average returns as a company. If you have a resource, if you have a distinctive competence which is valuable, but is not particularly rare, costly to imitate, and you're not well organized to take advantage of it, you're probably going to be on par with your competitors and generate average returns. If you have a distinctive competence which is valuable and rare, but it's not that hard to imitate, and you are organized well to take advantage of it, you may have a temporary competitive advantage, but you're going to maybe in the beginning generate above average returns, but you're going to eventually fall back to generating average returns as your competitors are able to imitate that capability or distinctive competence. If you have a resource which is valuable, rare, hard to imitate, and you're well organized to take advantage of it, that is what is going to end up generating sustainable competitive advantage and above average returns for your firm. So those are the resources that you want to target. I've listed an example here that I got from my colleague David Olson about some of Starbucks' distinctive competencies and how to determine which ones are valuable, rare, hard to imitate, and which ones the company is well organized to take advantage of. So when you are going through and generating your own VRIO framework in your case analysis document, this is a great example of how Starbucks does things. So take a look at the types of competencies that are discussed here. Take a look at how they're categorized, and that'll give you a good idea of how I want you to do that for your firm as well. So if I escape out of here for a second and go back to the case analysis document, you'll notice here company resources and competencies. This is going to be in your own words. I want you to think about internal resources, human resources, or physical plant resources, or innovation resources, whatever you think are distinctive competencies of the company. I want you to list them here. So if we're talking about, if we use the example of Starbucks that's in the slides, oops. So we have propensity for innovation, relationships with coffee, here, buying power. Let me just choose a couple at random. So R&D skills. Coffee house locations. Employee benefits. And renowned brand. So maybe those are the resources that you want to focus on. And I want you to just describe to me, are they valuable? Yes. Are the R&D skills rare? No, they're not that rare. Are they hard to imitate? No, they're not that hard to imitate. Is the company well organized to leverage them? Not really. Coffee house locations. Well, those are valuable too. They are kind of rare because once you've got the location, somebody else can't build the location at the same place. So, yes. But you could imitate by building on another corner close by. So, it's not that hard to imitate. Employee benefits. Yes, they're valuable. Yes, they're rare. Are they hard to imitate? Well, yeah, it's a pretty complex benefits package, so hard for another company to do exactly the same benefits. But no, the organization is not particularly set up to take advantage of that. And then brand name, yes, it's valuable. It's very rare. There's only one Starbucks. It's pretty hard to imitate too because they have a trademark for the name. And yes, the whole focus of the company is on promoting that brand name, so they're very well organized to take advantage of it. That is what I want you to do for the internal analysis company resources section. I want you to fill up the rest of these blanks as well. And then when you're done, just simply delete the instructions again and make sure the font is black. Okay? Done. Questions about the VRIO analysis for your case analysis document? Okay. Competitive strength assessment. So this is basically comparing your internal operations with the internal operations of one of your major competitors. So instead of just looking at your valuable, rare, hard to imitate resources, you're now comparing those resources to one of your competitors to see how well you match up with them. So this focuses on cross-company activities or comparisons of how certain activities are performed and the costs that are associated with those activities. So things like the purchase of materials, payment of suppliers, getting new products to market, filling and shipping customer orders. The way I like to do this is actually this is an extension of your key success factors section of the case analysis. So whatever the key success factors are in the industry, I want you to assess how good your focus company is at doing this and how good one of their competitors is at those same key success factors. Okay? So I've given a little chart here. This is actually not in your current textbook. This is from an older version, but I like the list of primary activities and support activities that it has. You know, when I did my MBA, when I got done with the MBA, I sort of felt like, wow, what did I learn? You know, I'm out here doing work in the in my field, and I feel like I'm not really using any of the knowledge and skills that I got from the MBA. And I wish I had sort of put together a cheat sheet of some of the major important tools that I learned during the MBA. This is a great cheat sheet document, so I've included it here in your slides. It's a great laundry list to think about every area of company operations that might be a distinctive competence, or every area of company operations that may be a key success factor for the industry. So helps to remind you of all of the different activities of the company that sometimes you forget if you don't have a list like this in front of you. So, why do rival companies have different costs from each other? Well, sometimes the price that different companies pay for raw materials or component parts or power and utilities are different between one company and another. Sometimes the basic technology and the age of your manufacturing facilities is different between two different companies. Economies of scale and experience curves. One company may have a lot more facilities than another. So if that's the case, then they're able to produce at a per unit cost, which is cheaper than the competition. Sometimes one company will have lower wage rates or higher productivity in their workers than another company. Sometimes marketing, promotion, and admin costs are different between two different companies. Inbound and outbound shipping costs, forward channel distribution costs, all of these can be different between companies and be the reason why one company is better at certain key success factors in the industry than another. A couple of comments about outsourcing. In general, what we're trying to do here in the internal analysis is identify the activities that the company is best at doing and that is better than the competition at doing. Ideally, if your company is not the best at doing something and is not better than the competition at doing that activity, you should consider outsourcing it to someone who is best at doing that. So sometimes outsiders can perform activities better and cheaper. This allows the company to focus energies on their core business. Generally, you want to outsource things that are not critical to competitive advantage. And you don't want to outsource things that can somehow hurt your product or service quality. In general, in this class, we talk about big companies. It's much easier to find the information on large publicly traded companies. So for your case analysis, I kind of encouraged all of you to focus on large companies. And most of the lecture material that in the textbook is focused on leading large multinational types of companies. I personally, Jeremy, as a professor, as a scholar, I focus. Many of you are also in my small business class. I tend to be somebody that focuses on small entrepreneurial businesses. So, for those of you who are interested in smaller type businesses or end up working for a smaller business after graduation, there's some great small business outsourcing vendors that I've listed here just as a tip for everybody in the class. Time, etc. is a nice source of U.S.-based virtual assistants. Elance is both domestic and international in various countries. Tasks Every Day is a particularly strong virtual assistant company that's based out of India. Fiverr is a really interesting website that basically has people that offer to do things for $5. And it's pretty amazing the types of skills and abilities that you get on a thing like Fiverr. And then finally, Get Apps Done is a great community for finding people to do code programming for different types of software applications. So just FYI for all of you out there, maybe not as critical when you have a large human resources department in a big company and you're able to do large-scale hiring. But if you're looking to find outsourced help on a smaller business scale, these are some great resources for that. So before we talk about SWOT analysis, let me go back to the case analysis document again. So Competitive strength assessment is the next thing that I want you to do, and you'll notice the instructions here. Copy factor names and weights from your key success factors tool above. Then assign strength ratings between 1 and 10, with 10 being the best, to each company. Calculate and sum their scores, and you calculate the score by multiplying the weight times the strength rating, and then add up those scores that you've calculated and give some brief comments about why you gave the company the rating that you did. Okay? So to show you the example, when you're doing this for your own case analysis papers, just go up, grab the columns that have factor and weight in them, copy, scroll down, paste. You've got your factors and weights. You're going to want to name the company. So if we're comparing Starbucks, for example, with another company, that maybe Starbucks is our focus company, and you'll see here if we scroll down, there is an exact same chart here down below. We're going to compare Starbucks with another company, so maybe Pete's. Factors and weights will be the same for both charts, and then we're going to go in and we're going to rate how good we think the company is in each of these areas. So, the factors are for education, though. So let's say, to make this consistent, CSUB and Fresno State. So relationships with the government. We're doing okay, but I know from talking with my colleagues around campus that there's always a little bit of stress on whether we're going to get our funding each year or not. So I'm going to rate that maybe a 7. We're okay, but we could be better at it. And then Fresno State. I'm not as familiar with them, but let's just say that Fresno State has a whole department of their outreach department, their outreach operations, which has representatives in Sacramento talking with the government all the time. So we're going to say that they're almost as good as it gets, a 9. So for each company, we're going to multiply 40% times 9. So 0.4 times 9 is, what is it? 3.6? Sounds good to me. And 40% times 7 should be 2.8, right? And we're going to put in an explanation, just like I said. Sometimes CSUB is uncertain about continuing funding. Therefore, we have rated it a bit lower on this factor. And then for Fresno State, you would put an explanation like Fresno State has a whole department which is focused on government relations in Sacramento. Therefore, we have rated it quite high on this factor. Do that for all 5 of the factor areas. Add up all the scores and put the total here, whatever the total ends up being. And then again, make sure that the font is black. Okay, I have, I think, 1 slide left. It's almost time to, no, I got 3 slides left. So we'll pick up there on Wednesday. See you guys in a couple days. Hey.
So I think I read. So I wasn't sure exactly how to read the syllabus. Because I saw the writing assignment on it, and so I thought it was due yesterday. So I just looked on the syllabus, and then I think I did it differently because you said you wanted like a cover letter.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so are we doing it so based off of the syllabus, what it says in there? Like you basically do like it says a write-up, summary, analysis of content from business news media or some other form of written? Or did you change it? Because I wasn't here when
No,
you like first.
I changed it. I want a cover letter.
Okay.
Is that
Yeah.
okay? Can
Yeah.
you write that
so
up
not,
for this coming weekend?
Yeah, I'm just not super. I don't know that I've ever done one. What is it like? A cover letter for?
So it's just introducing yourself to a company you'd like to apply for a job at,
Oh, okay. Sounds good.
and explaining why you'd like that job.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Not bad. Okay.
Who's next?
Can you tell me who else is in my group? Because you added someone,
Yes.
as I recall.
I can.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Got your picture
It's
back.
you, Julia, who was just
Yeah, I know Julia.
here. Okay. Eduardo Lopez Madero,
I know
Jake Andrade, and Gabriel
Gabriel's
Partida.
missing, like, that's a damn. That's a weird looking picture.
Well, they're all your like ID pictures from a couple years ago.
Yeah. So Gabriel was the missing link. All right.
Okay. Yes.
Those discussion questions,
Mhm.
they're not from Goobus, right? They're from the slides.
No, they're for the slides.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
No problem.